Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we got the Panamanian presidential election results out. Very interesting election because, boy, this was an election for the right wing. So, really, all these candidates right here, they are more conservative, except for Ricardo Lambana, who comes from the MOCA, which is mainly a big tent political party. But yeah, he's mainly the guy that is mainly supported by, I would say, the left. But there's also the PRD, which is the Democratic Revolutionary Party in Panama. It's a center-left political party. It's also the ruling party. It's ultimately been very unpopular in the last, I would say, in the last upcoming 4 years in Panama, because we got this guy, Lorenzo Cortizo, and he comes from the PRD. And just like every president that serves during this time in world history, you're being frowned upon because the economy is horrible. We have the COVID-19 pandemic. The legislation that helped take down the pandemic is now being paid for by taxes. So it really is very hard for, as you know, these sort of leaders to lead. But then again, we are very happy to announce that the conservative last minute candidate, Jose Raúl Mulino, was declared the president-elect of Panama. Like I said, this is a very good election for the right wing, coming from the Realizing Goals party. But I did mention that this guy was last minute. And the reason being was the former president, Ricardo Martinelli, was running in this election. However, right before election day, or election day, week before election day, Martinelli was found guilty of basically money laundering, and he was sentenced. I don't know if he was sentenced to probation or he's sentenced to a period of time in jail, but he is now a criminal. He was arrested in the U.S. in South Florida after a provisional arrest warrant issued by the U.S. Justice Department in response to a request from Panama, and was set to appear on federal court. So, because of this, Martinelli and Manuel Antonio Noriega, know this, Noriega was the guy that George H.W. Bush took out during the invasion of Panama. Here's his mugshot there. He's technically the president. Panama does not recognize this guy as president, but technically he was a leader of Panama during this time. He said he never actually served as president, but he did assume the powers of the Panamanian military. He assumed power in Panama. He is basically disowned by Panama. So, yeah, because of this, Martinelli and Manuel Antonio Noriega are the only political leaders to be detained in the U.S. for judicial processes of institutional gravity. So yeah, this guy, Martinelli, and he comes from the Democratic Change. He joined the Realizing Goals political party. Yeah, this is more of a center-right political party. But I'm glad to hear, like, Panamanian conservatives could have been concerned, or if you know your government enough, that you don't need to be concerned. But luckily, we got the replacement candidate, Jose Raúl Mulino, who managed to win by 9 points, defeating a multitude of other different candidates. In Panama, you don't need to do a second round in like countries like North Macedonia, if I should pull that up. North Macedonia is doing their election tomorrow, their second round. Yes. Well, actually, never mind. It's not tomorrow, but it's coming up quickly. Um, I do think, yeah, there is an election tomorrow, but it's not Mount North Macedonia. We have a lot of elections coming up, but we have Mulino, who ultimately won the presidency of, as you know, Panama. And even once again, with Martinelli being guilty of convictions in the United States or being detained, I don't think it was convicted. I don't know if he was convicted in the United States, but he was arrested. And here you see he is pretty much very popular all the way through 2022, 2022, 2023, and then 2024. I think it was April. No, it was a few. I think it was February. It looks like it's February. February stops because he was kicked out of the race by the Panamanian government. And you would think, oh, this would be the chance for like Torrijos to take power. And yes, that's what he did, because during this time, Martinelli was being tried for money laundering. And during this time, this helped supporters get mainly get Torrijos, who in the end of the day finished third place. This guy all the way up to the top, and he's also center right. He comes from the PP, center right, anti-communism, conservative and Christian democracy political party. So he's not a left winger, but that his support in the polls didn't last long, and he would eventually plunge all the way down. In February, he would surge a little bit in like April, until they get this guy. They get this Mulino guy, and you'll see this is where he enters the race. In February, he goes up, and these are the latest polls being taken. So, yes, Panama has officially got their president, Jose Raúl Mulino. We have no map results yet. I will be obviously posting those results. For presidential and country elections and international elections, it's not guaranteed that Wikipedia creates a map for these elections. It's very rare. I mean, I'm sure they will, because they did do it for Panama in the past. You'll see there's this election here. They did it with that election in 2014. Same deal. So I'm kind of curious, if you will, to kind of see the results of this presidential election. Panama has had in the last couple years more conservative leaders. I guess we're going to call it heads of state. And once again, we're not counting Noriega as some sort of military. Yeah, even though he's a military leader, we're not going to call him a head of state or anything. We're because he's just such an evil guy. Instead, even Omar Torrijos is with him. But yes, there will be. Yeah, the current president is Lorenzo Carrizo. He is to step down on July 1st, 2024. That is inauguration day for Panama. But mainly we have seen more conservative leaders in Panama, like Juan Carlos Varela. He comes from the Panamista party, and this political party has some sort of ties with fascism. In the past, it was originally founded in 1931. Yes, originally founded as the PNR, but Yeah, this at the time used to be considered a fascist political party in the 30s. But yes, you'll see center right to right wing, more right wing populism, national conservatism. You'll see Panamista. And then there was, oh yeah, there's Ricardo Martinelli, who was the convicted president we were talking about. He came from Democratic Change, and that was another conservative political party. Democratic Revolutionary Party. So this would be the very Laurento Corrizio would be the very first left-wing president since 2004, when Martin Torrijos won that said election and served till 2009. So I'm assuming that you can't run for re-election in Panama. Let's see. Yes, constitutional term limits. The president at the time in 2019 would be Juan Carlos Ferreira, was ineligible for a second consecutive term. So that Panama doesn't let you run for re-election. You can only serve one term. So all other parties can have a fair chance in spending money for their candidate in the re-election year, so not in the next election year. So that makes sense to a point. I agree with that, but if you're having a good leader, it would be nice to have him run again, right? If you have a really good leader who's leading the country through a good economy, and leading good with foreign policy, it would be very nice to keep him. So I get that logic. Anyway, what do you guys think? Congratulations to Jose Raúl Mulino. And anyway, I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next political episode.